Greetings, Dan Halligan with KNT Games, and two things I want to say at the top. Number one, most importantly, I can't thank everyone enough for making the project a roaring success right out of the gate. That means an awful lot to me. I actually made a couple of boo-boos, which I think I fixed in that first update. If you haven't seen that, you can go read it. I forgot a pledge level. I mean, I stared at that thing for hours. Anyway, this is the second point, which is I'm incoherent. So I'm going to ramble and bumble and stumble through my words, and I'm not going to edit it out because then it won't get posted and it'll be for your entertainment. So this is a video that should have been done before the campaign started, and I apologize for it. Time was so tight with all the little delays, and so I'm doing this as my first big update, which is packing the 2E box and how the Universal Rules Compendium fits in the 2E box. I do not want people thinking that I made the Victorian box, because that's the only way you can fit a fat rule book in seamlessly into a box. You can fit the Universal Rule Book into this box, and I have only one small caveat, is that I am upgrading the paper to a linen paper, which is a little, not linen, there's some name for it, but it's a really nice textured paper that adds a little thickness to it, and I think we're still okay on that because I'm using my initial prototype. But I think you'll see that we're probably okay on that front. It does take a little, it's not like my box packing video from the last campaign where it was insanely systematic where you put everything. This is not that complicated, but it takes all the expansion content. And I'm not going to pack up the boxes and stuff. You saw me do that. I've got full boxes. I'm just going to leave those boxes. You can fit all the tiles in one. You can fit all the cards and the meeples in another. And those are the family boxes. It's very tight for both of those boxes, but you can fit them in there. So, and just getting started, we start with the boards. If the linen proves to be a little thick, and you don't play the tableau round track, you might want to take that out. But right now we don't need to take it out, so let me emphasize that. Here's the key. So you've got all these boards now of the same size. And what you want to do is you want to split these boards evenly. We've got 8, because we've got the cooperative and the sideboard. And you put those two like so, split down the middle. Okay. Once you've split that, we get our purple boxes, heavy beasts right here, packed as they are. And those purple boxes go in on the 4, and you see that gap? That is the thickness of the Universal Rulebook. So then we're going to come back over here. We're going to take our family boxes and put them on the other side. And you can see we've got a little more room on that side. And the reason we have a little more room is you have things like your score pad. You could even have 2. You have your upstairs, downstairs little bag here, if you want that in there. We're going to put our organizers in the middle, like we always do. This here requires a little finesse, not a lot of finesse. I fold that in thirds, because folding that in thirds allows me to tuck this beautifully. Prevents any shifting too. Tuck that beautifully in that crack. If you fold it in half, it sticks up. If you fold it in quarters, it bulges out the edge of the box. So now every rule book that's in the Universal Compendium, gone. All of that's gone. And so what are we keeping? And I even have a crinkled rule book here, same one from yesterday. Keeping the variant catalog, the glossary, and the reference cards. And I'm going to put those, I'll put these here, put that here, put the staple in there. So I'll put that like in the middle, like so. This is a casualty if you're using the Universal Rulebook in the 2E, if you're putting the Universal Rulebook in the 2E. I really feel bad. I still love that box. But as it relates to, pain, that is not a component you're leaving out. And now we have the room here. And I actually remember I like to move my boxes in a little bit. That gives me the room. All right. I had one person tell me that they sang my praises yesterday. Here I'm looking for applause. So you can see that we still got a scotia room. So if that new textured paper adds a little thickness, I think we're all right. But right now, we're super solid. There's not a snick of lid lift on that. Now, I will say that this is just the original components stored pretty tight in those purple boxes. So it's doable, but if you sleeve, if you get upgraded meeples, if you have some other things, the little bit of extras, then you probably do need the Victorian box. But if you're just using what I've made, you can make it fit. Thank you.